They're just stupid little chibi animal girls, girls doing things. It doesn't even matter what they're doing, as long as it's something a Japanese schoolgirl does on a regular basis. Middle-aged perverts with their balls tied up in elastic will watch this show and splooge all over their Hello Kitty vintage cell phone charms.
Who wants official DO13 Hello Kitty vintage cell phone charms?
It's kind of like Seinfeld. You know, if Jerry was a cat girl, and George was a sexy rabbit, and Elaine was an underage boy, and Kramer was my balls getting stepped on. Oh, and Newman? You don't even want to know who Newman is. Tiny story, my family is here watching this today. They're in the back, in the left corner. You could wave, clap for that. Show that if you really follow your dreams, you too can someday have your son get up on stage, tie a rope belt on his head, and talk about his balls getting stepped on. Thank you for coming to support me, guys. Move out tomorrow.
Speaking of things that scar children, Ghost Dog. Ghost Town! Ghost Town is an anime about 3 messed up kids in a small town that all learn to astrally project. Using their wondrous newfound powers of astral projection, they leave their bodies to look at other parts of their small town. As opposed to kids in other anime that get psychic powers and then kick ass, kids in Ghost Town use their powers to make themselves more afraid than usual. Creepy owls watching.
Look at the owls. Look at
And given that each one of them has some sort of terrible skeleton that's not quite in the closet, this is no easy task.
The owls are still moving.
The owls. They'll come back later, don't worry. The main character, Taro, is a narcoleptic with brain damage who's haunted by the memory of watching his sister starve to death while tied to a bed. He astrally projects by listening to his crappy homemade radio, so despite being used to horrifying things, there's the owls. Taro would make a terrible Silent Hill protagonist because he passes out every time he hears radio static. Taro's best friend Masayuki, who is spooked by that one time he taunted a classmate to jumping off the roof to his death, Masayuki then became afraid of heights, or more specifically, the soul-crushing guilt he feels every time he looks at a building more taller than 2 stories. He deals with this fear, /astrally projects, by playing video games, and he put this fears to rest by being friends with another kid who's being teased. Masayuki's amazing psychic powers are more or less ineffectual to the plot. Taro's cousin Makoto is haunted by his father kidnapping Taro and his sister. He astrally projects by playing guitar with headphones on, which kind of makes me wonder what he's playing while he's astrally projecting. Makoto deals with his guilt about his father by convincing his mother to die in a fire. Wait, what? And in the end, all the old hobos come out of the mountains and they exorcise the spirits that dammed up the river. If you're confused by this spoiler of Ghost Town, may I refer you to another series written by Chiaki J. Konaka, Serial Experiments Lane. Just figure that one out and you'll totally understand Ghost Town.
Laptop moves.
Speaking of useless astral projection, this is an anime called Shingu, Secret of the Stellar Wars. I'm not sure why it's called that, because the Stellar Wars are over, and everyone in their neighborhood knows about them, but what the hell.
You never explained of.
There is no of. The of is a lie.
The Stellar Wars. Anyway, at least there really is a Shingu, which is the ghost of a ridiculously powerful alien bound to protect Earth for some reason. But never mind that, let's have some soup. And go to a barbecue. And hold a student council assembly. Oh, and let's put all the narrative focus on slice-of-life school stories, but all the conflict in giant robot space combat, so that the set of things you care about and the set of things that get resolved are completely disjoint. I have to admit, though, Shingu has a really good beginning. They introduce the characters, establish the setting, and use a minor enemy to foreshadow the main conflict. Then the series ends. Seriously, I can understand not having the money to finish the story you wanted to tell, but in 26 fucking episodes, you should be able to finish something. There's a love triangle that's never addressed, a mysterious origin that's never addressed, a missing fifth alien hero that's never addressed, and about 6 different psychic superheroes who never get to do anything except glow dramatically. And the whole time you're following the main character who's as useless as the love child of Krillin and Pikachu.
Love triangles, Tenchi. One of the oldest stories in recorded history is a love triangle between a hapless young man, a snooty intergalactic princess, and a rogue space pirate. Or maybe it just seems that way, because ever since there's been anime, there's been a Tenchi series. The story of the young man and the 17,000 women who fight over him all started with the Tenchi OVAs. That was popular enough to warrant a TV series, which reset the continuity a little bit. And then there was the first movie, Tenchi in Love, which is about the gang going back in time so Tenchi can fall in love with his mother. Then there's the second movie, about Tenchi falling in love with his daughter. Okay, back to TV series. So there's Tenchi in Tokyo, which is about Tenchi falling in love with a puppet, and Tenchi Forever, where Tenchi falls in love with a tree. Oh dear. Moving on, they got better because there's Tenchi Muyo GXP, which doesn't actually feature Tenchi at all. And this doesn't even begin to factor in any of the series starring Japan's favorite character, Sasami. There's an OVA and 2 TV series that revolve just around Sasami becoming a magical girl. The latest being Sasami Magical Girls Club. Where Sasami starts an after-school club that pretends they're cooking, but it's really a magical girl club. Now, I love you, so I've done the math. And the Tenchi series, as it stands now, adds up to 69 hours and 16 minutes of anime. So if you didn't have to sleep or go to the bathroom, it would take you 4,156 minutes to get through all of Tenchi Muyo. And you know what happens in the end? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Tenchi still hasn't chosen a girl. I actually had trouble writing the spoiler because there's nothing to spoil. They spend almost 3 days running around and having adventures, and nothing is ever resolved. They were doing Inuyasha before Inuyasha was doing Inuyasha.
Speaking of images you can't get out of your head, Eden of the East.
I'm riding a giant bear.
Now, I can try to spoil Eden of the East, but I don't think it'll happen. The show is about 12 people called Selithos who are forced to save Japan and killed if they fail. This is the main character Akira, and he is number 9. All the other plot points are revealed in the opening animation. I'll play an 8-second clip, and be on the lookout for these little guys.
Quiet so everyone can hear it.
This is plugged in. Okay, now what did we learn in the last 8 seconds?
Umi, go. Snort the ashes, dance to hard techno.
Yes,
Noel Gallagher still has a job for anime opening things.
that he does.
Wheels are bad for butterflies.
Butterflies hate them. What we actually learned is that Selithos number 4, 5, and 10 are going to die. Also, Akira is going to use his phone to become the king. The damn theme song just told us everyone that dies, in what order, and what will happen at the end of the series. I can just try for some cheap laughs in this spoiler, but they covered that in the show too. Akira first shows up naked and holding a gun, and in front of the White House.
This is true.
The genius hacker girl is called Mitten. The serial rapist killer is called the Johnny Cutter. Yes, that's exactly what you think.